starting with rhythmic limbering. Okay, so the most universal move is your little step touch because it's so easy to do. The amount of stride you take, right? That's what you're kind of after. What makes your parts feel good? How do you have rhythm? Can you get into rhythm? Do you need music? I don't know. I'm not pulling out my little RX pad today for a reason, because if I see it, I'll go right to it. And there were a couple of other things that I wanted to get into. But while we're into rhythmic limbering, it really allows me to have story time with you. So we're going into our little heel taps. You know, there's an interesting aspect to what I do all day, because though I'm the person that is encouraging, right, movement and technique, because of that, I can have a really critical eye. Critical, discerning, I don't know which is the right one to use. So instead of tapping to the center, I want you to toe tap out, right? Nice, easy, soft knee bends. If the knees are a little crabby, then your legs won't have much flex at the knee. But if everything feels good, right? When you go, you're like trying to put a little squat, just a little squat with an up tap, okay? Because from here, we can do so many things. So you've got toe taps wide and heel tap center, right? I want you to think about that because now we're going to try to alternate it, right? Toe tap, heel tap center. Toe tap wide, right? Heel tap center. We're not doing muscle confusion. We're doing cognitive work right now. Toe tap, heel, heel. And you're like, yeah, but everything just maybe feels disjointed. I'm going to try to continue with story time while we're in this pattern, and we'll see how long it takes me before I maybe hit a misstep, okay? But yesterday I was in a session with one of my clients, and we are doing very specific things to help with her knee function. But because I know so much, I often have to remind people that what's happening at your knee may not actually be the byproduct of something being wrong with your knee. It's probably the weak foot and the ankle, and then like our glutes, right? So now think about this. What leg if you're mirroring me, okay, we're going to march it out and we're going to get into the other leg lead. So heel taps center, toe taps wide. Start with heel tap, heel, heel, toe, toe. And now I intentionally put a little spring in each one of them. Okay, so we're going to be here for a little bit. Toe taps wide, heel tap center. So I'm giving this client a repeating pattern, which this would actually be a repeating pattern, but this is complex because it's two movements that we're trying to repeat. So though it's like, but it's not hard, but there is a complexity to this, okay? So I'm giving her one movement, but it needs to be done very specifically because it's for ankle and knee function. So I put her on the step and I'm like, okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to take one foot and you're going to step forward off the step, which is a riser, about 3 inches, maybe 2 inches off the floor. You got about 4 more of these. And I said, you're taking one foot and you're stepping that foot and only that foot off the riser, and it needs to strike the floor with a heel action first and the toe next. Marching feet. Right? So we've got you and I now, we've got our imaginary step in front of us. Stop your feet. Take this leg, extend, heel strike on the flat surface. It's easily done, right? But when you're on a little riser, often what happens is the ball of the foot wants to strike on the forward down. So I repeated it. She took my information. She got up on the step. I said, which foot are you going to step down with? And she says, whatever. And then she proceeded to do the movement. And as she's saying to herself, heel strike, what do you think her body did? Toe strike. And then, so she pushed herself back up and she proceeded to do it again. Switch legs for me. Okay. Just you're in a little rock step. Heel strike. This is very remedial, right? Because it's not even a full rock step. It's a partial forward glide to close the stance. And why am I doing this with you? Because if when you step back, if your body has naturally gone to a rock step and you're traveling beyond the other foot, I want you to only focus on the forward action where you are intentionally heel striking and then rolling to the toe. Heel strike, roll to the toe, and what has to happen on the other leg is you come up off the heel. Okay, so back to story time. We are going to alternate this pattern in a couple more. So she pushes herself back up and she proceeds to do it again. Same thing. She strikes with the ball of her foot. And I'm like, and here's why we do these little things, alternating side. Okay, get ready. Step in, step, rock, push back. Step, rock, push back. How often now, when you step back, are you actually able to bring your feet back together? Now that I've brought your attention to it, when you step and push back, is the leg that's in the traveling back mode, is it overtaking and stepping further than it should? Don't let it. I just sped up to get back in rhythm, okay? So it brought me to this thing. I called out, I'm like, listen, we're going to do 5 repetitions each side. And you might not actually get 5 right repetitions. 5. That's all I'm trying to get with her. 5 repetitions. So we go through the one leg. She does 1 repetition, 1 out of the 5, which is actually correct. And then she switches to the other leg and she has a similar breakdown, marching feet. And I say to her, I'm not discouraged by this, but what this proves is that one of 2 things. You're either messing with me or it proves that when we move through the day, we move with complete disregard to where our body should be because we're just moving, right? And now that we're drawing our attention to moving very specifically, you have to put your mind into what you're doing. And I said, it's not that you don't comprehend that I'm asking you to heel strike. I said, what it is that your ankle flexion and your calves are so tight that when you pick up your foot, you keep going. When you pick up your foot to strike down with a heel strike, the ankle is so tight that it can't flex. And I'm like, so it's not that you don't understand what I'm asking you to do. It's that we have to keep slowing you down until you can execute it properly. And I said, but in a session, it seems like I'm beating a dead horse, right? And that's why I put the number 5 to it, because we try 5 and we move on. But now it brings me to the next thought. If you've never heard me mention 10,000 hours to mastery, 5,000 repetitions is really what it comes down to with the body, okay? But not just 5,000 repetitions of something, 5,000 repetitions done correctly. It's how you train muscle memory. Think about how long it would take to actually execute 5,000 repetitions of something. So it's not something that you can just like poof, I'm doing it right. The body takes a long time to respond to new input. Are you seeing what's happening here? Front, front, back, back. Look how wide my legs are staying, right? Pull it up, pull it up. When my foot comes back to the floor, it's staying nice and wide, right? Why? Because watch. You lose your balance if you can't get your body weight to leverage itself side to side. Now, since I've thrown you totally out of rhythm, back to marching feet. And you should feel like your body's ready to move. So here we go. Rock, step, side to side. You're like, that kind of looks like marching feet. It is. All you're doing is instead of marching in place, you're putting a little direction to it. Push. And I realize that every time I step here, I'm walking through the sun. So I'm going to try to stay out of that little glare over there. Push, pull. Little side to side, push, pull. We're going to go back to our step touches, step touch, side to side. I got on that topic by saying this, that my eye is honed in to be able to spot the thing that the body's not doing right. Two-step touches, two-step touches. So all day long, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm spotting things. And in the process of me catching her, nailing her, I didn't verbally nail her every single time she was doing it wrong, because I waited. I waited to see if she would identify that she was doing it wrong. And as a trainer, back to single step touches right here, singles. So as a trainer, there is such a thing as overcorrecting, right? If you never let somebody process the information and the sensation long enough, grapevines, then by default, instead of them sensing that they're doing it wrong and correcting themselves, they will wait to get called out on instead of making the change themselves. Isn't that crazy? The psychological component of knowing somebody is there watching you, and then kind of go back to single step touches. Often I will be Johnny on the spot to like make the correction, especially if we've just gone through the directive. All right. But then once I've given the directions and then the execution of the movement starts, immediately, if there's a breakdown, then I'm like, they didn't understand what my expectation is. So I'll demonstrate and do it again, alternating sides. But then I have to let a few repetitions play out in order for them to be able to process the visual and the verbal and go, oh, that's what's supposed to be happening here. You're ready? Back to your rhythm, forward, forward, back, back. All right. All of this is still your rhythmic limbering. Back, back, forward, forward. So after that move, and then a couple of others, some similar things were happening, right? And I said to her, and sadly, because I feel like it's sad, marching feet. Sadly, clients, for trainers that take the easy street out when it comes to training, they will often only put their clients on machines. Why? Not because the machine is the ideal way to train, but because it's the easiest road to then not have to educate. Is that not wrong word? The laziest road that a trainer can put you in is if all of your workouts are geared on machines, unless you have some major disabilities where the machine is the safest way. But knowing that we all move through our day, functioning in and out of our cars, up and down stairs, loading the dishwasher, like there are normal things that we have to keep our body doing. And so some of these other movements just kind of, that's why they're called functional, right? Some of the other movements fall into the guidelines of what can we do that kind of replicates something that you need to be able to control through your body, because chances are you're getting it done through your day. What does the little step down do? Like, because it's not walking, right? But it's taking you from one surface down to the other. Ready? I'm hoping that you're ready to get your heart rate up. So maybe you're in little prance mode, right? But if you can do more, then it's not necessarily harder, it's just different. You could be flat-footed, right? If you don't feel like you want any spring in your step, then stay flat-footed, right? And just shake the leg out. I want to make sure that that heart rate is starting to climb a little bit. Already you've done a combination of things that we're now going to put together. Marching feet. Where did we start? Roll it back, step touch, faster step touch than where we started. Step touch, and then what did we do? Okay, we did our little heel taps to the center. Heel tap, heel tap, heel tap. And then we did toe taps wide, right? You're like, yeah, we did. Toe tap wide. Okay, here we go. And then we did combo of heel tap center, toe tap wide. You want to try it? Go heel tap center, toe tap wide. Repeat the pattern where I'm trying to bring you into a little bit faster speed. Tap out, heel, heel, toe, toe, push, push. Heel, heel, toe, toe. And now, once you complete the tap out, back to marching feet. Step touch. The march just helps you transition. Remember, double step touch? You're like, she kind of does she speed herself up? How many cups of coffee did she have? One. Actually, I got like a half a cup. I haven't figured out. Grapevine. I haven't figured out when I have my 6 a.m. session how to actually get my cup of coffee in. So I've tried to not have it and then have it between the 7 and 8 o'clock hour. You ready? You're like, ready for what? Single step touches. Whew. Ready? Knee lifts up, pull, pull, pull. So I've delayed, didn't this morning, but I delayed my coffee at times when I've got my 6 a.m. Do you remember what comes next? Kinda. Are you working with me? Pull it back, tuck it up. There we go. Push, push. And don't forget, we did a rock step in there too. Okay. Get ready. Prime your mind. Prime your mind. We're going to go back to marching feet right now. Okay. Rock step. Remember, we did the little direction. Crossover. There you go. So the reason why I don't often do the rock step like this, we normally march in the middle, is because this almost seems like just when you get yourself going, right, you're changing directions. But that's part of our thought process today. Push down, 5, 4, 3, 2, and relax. Grab your light weights, maybe a little drink. Okay, so even if I started late, which may have been a minute or two, we are 18 minutes. So my clock says 8:20. I think we started at 8:02. We just did 18 minutes of kind of aerobic, rhythmic limbering and aerobic work. So your heart should be beating a little bit fast, and now you're ready to move into the next phase. I know what I know is that I don't know everything. And even the things that I think that I know, at times I've had to amend, one, my thought, and two, my ability to go, That may either make sense. I either reject it if I learn something new that is contrary to what I thought was the Holy Grail. But I'm like, okay, I wish I had known that sooner. But when I'm in the gym or any place, any other space, and I'm watching the professional, which would be the coach, the trainer, right? Train the client. And I'm watching them do things that aren't necessary. I don't object to seeing trainers do things that I wouldn't give, but sometimes I have to go, I wonder why. Why would they give that? Right? New move, hinge over, pull it apart. Pull it apart. And that's the thing. I don't know everybody's story, right? But I certainly can look around and go, wow, I don't actually think that that's a really good move for that person based on how they're executing it, right? And then even when a trainer puts their clients on machines, right? There's a lot that goes into doing it right. Are you getting fatigued yet? Your back's in tabletop. Your legs are kind of in that partial squat. You're slightly in deadlift, but it feels more like you're in squat. 5 more. I've got my feet together. 4, the arms are long. 3, you should be getting a massive amount of burn in several different places. And now pull up. Back to marching feet. If you've got your light weights, 1s, 2s, nothing, I don't know, right? 3, if you felt like your shoulders were really strong, 3s, 4s, 5s, maybe, but you're not going to get very far. 1s, 2s, keep it light, okay? Because now you're going to do this. Like, oh, I love the swivel. Oh, it's natural. There's a natural inclusion, right? It doesn't feel bad. If it feels bad, guess what you get to do, which is what we're going to try to do anyway. We're going to try to go through 3 different planes of action with the push. Slight diagonal, because we'll say the first one that you just did, do this one again, you were at more of a horizontal plane. That's horizontal plane. So you're just coming up a little bit higher. And then the last movement would be even higher, reaching for the ceiling, but the arm isn't behind you, okay? It's still at a slight forward angle. So if you had a mirror, right, you'd stop, you check it out to make sure that your head isn't in front of your arm. Really important. Okay, so now here we go. Lay it out, horizontal plane. And then you're going to move up a couple of inches, slight diagonal. If you're babying a shoulder, then that arm isn't even in the equation, right? And you're just doing, watch, I'm doing it. I'm just doing one arm, all 3 planes of motion, right? And I'll do it again. Horizontal, horizontal, a little diagonal, a little up, and then even greater, belly to spine. Hopefully, as you swivel around, it's not just the heel lifting with the knee staying like torqued in, because that's not a very good spot for the knee. You want to bring your hips, shoulders, knees, and feet around. All right, here we go. Punch, punch, higher. Take it horizontal, level it out. Push, slightly higher, higher than that. One more time, horizontal plane, slightly higher, even higher, and release into, you're like, what about your feet? Okay, where are we? You are in a split stance. Here's the important thing. If you were starting hip width apart, how do you track the leg that's moving back and maintain its hip width apart position? Because often it wants to close in. You're trying to keep feet hip width apart and both legs pointed straight ahead. You'll know your back leg is too far back if the heel doesn't touch the floor comfortably. And not only that, if you get it pulled forward just enough, you'll be able to press it into the floor. All right, take your upper body, lean forward, but don't break. Here's the particulars of it. A diagonal line from the back of the head down to the heel. You're in a diagonal line. And now the arms are here. Push. So if the arms push beyond the leg and the side body, the shoulders are probably doing the wrong thing. Wow. Ready? The arms bend and it's like the thumbs stop just shy of right under the bust. The elbows stay glued to you, belly to spine. Do a little pelvic tilt so you're not crimping. You don't want to feel any strain across the lumbar. So you want to tuck your butt cheek. Isn't it crazy? We haven't even gotten into the repetition yet. You're in brace mode. Push, try to make the arms go to the length and the same diagonal line that the leg is. Push. If the thumbs swing up to the tops of your shoulders, your elbows have not maintained their stabilizing position. And push. 5. Belly to spine. 4. Try to pinch the derriere. 3. The heel back there should be on the floor. And now as you hold it, take your hands. The palms are going to be turned down. Sweep the arms forward. And now from the hand to the foot is diagonal line. Bring it back down to the hips. Lift the arms out to the sides and then start letting them reach forward and down. One more. So much should be happening here. Keep squeezing the butt. Pull the hands away from the body and then sweep them up and down. Release, relax. Don't worry, I'll get us going on the other side. Move it around, marching, walking, just taking a break if you need to, right? Here we go. Back to my coffee. So I have tried to do my before my session and then after my session, and I've still not managed to find the timing where I'm not like rushed trying to get this coffee in, because the whole experience for me is that I actually really do enjoy a cup of coffee, but not like if I'm in a rush. It'd be nice to like sit down for a few minutes and just like uninterrupted have a cup of coffee, release and relax. Ready? All right. Turn yourself to the other side. Remember, can you remember which leg you had back? If you were following me, right? Think about if you were mimicking me, you were there. I'm just going to swivel around. Your feet are hip width apart. The trailing leg, foot is tracking straight ahead. Take your heel, push it to the floor. The front leg is bent and you're pushing. And now take and squeeze the butt cheek. Pull the navel in. Okay. Think about the arms tracking nice and long. Shoulder blades are pulled back. Keep squeezing this right there. And then bend. Notice I'm not coming thumbs to shoulders. The hands pretty much stop when that forearm is at horizontal plane. Ready? Push. As you start straightening, squeeze the shoulder blades and try not to let the arms upswing higher than the leg. Hinge, belly to spine, push. What I want you to focus on is as the arms near the extension, squeeze your shoulder blades back and pelvic tilt. Here we go. Hinge and push. Hinge and push. If you're not careful, the elbows will be swinging and your shoulders will be helping, and your front shoulder, right? You'll be rounded forward. Your back is all slack. You can bend that front leg and press forward. It's about maintaining your diagonal line, right? And now 5 more. 5, a massive stretch is happening in my calf down there on that back leg. 3, 2, hold it down. Move the arms away from the body. Look down. Raise the arms. Trying to get that diagonal line from the hands all the way to the foot that's trailing. Bring it down. Lift it away. Sweep it up. Pull it down. Belly to spine. Lift away from the body. Reach them up. So I'm looking down, but my head isn't hanging, right? That's really important to figure out how do you maintain your neck length and your eyes gazing at the right spot. Last one, pull it away, sweep it up, release the arms and relax. Walk it around. Grab a little drink. Wow. All right, do you have your ball? Can we get into our ball bounce? I do have my little core board out, and so we're going to be using that too. All right, and it could be your core board, right? It could be depending on your work surface, right? Maybe you have your towels that you can twist around at, or you're going to be jogging in place, some version. So when we get up from our ball bounce, we're going to incorporate one more little activation, be hula hoop, jump rope, stairs, nothing, squats. I don't know, just want you to move for about 45 seconds in a moment. So as you're into bounce, pull everything into your body, shoulder blades, chin. There we go. Sorry. Jog in place. Here we go. Body's on the ball, right? It's okay if you're a little bit like wobbly. Here we go. Now, do you have to be flat-footed and loaded heavily with your feet? Or can you just have the heels pulled up and it's little toe taps, right? Keep sitting up tall. Now, think about this, okay? If you have your tiptoes touching the floor and the heels lifted, you can actually take your hips and jiggle them from side to side. Ooh, 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 ooh. Believe it or not, get to one side. Think about this wall of muscle over here. And as you go side to side, I want you to go, oh, I'm actually doing oblique crunches, right? So it's going to be small. Rock, 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 rock. Okay. If you're bigger than I am, you're not going to be able to do that. And I don't mean bigger. I mean, if you're gliding further from side to side, keep it tight. My arch in my right foot just cramped up. That means I need to move my feet. Okay. Don't fall off your ball, but literally I want you to rock. And then if you can move your feet, I was trying to figure out what foot is off the floor when I'm rocking, because my body has a natural rhythm to it. And sometimes when I slow it down to try to figure it out, it like throws me off. Okay. So I'm going to say less. Go, 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 go. It's not wrong. Your feet don't have to mirror mine, right? But the abs are hard at work, okay? You're sitting up, marching, jogging, shaking that ball side to side. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. You're done with your ball. It doesn't always have to be the same. When I sit on the ball, I'm reminded of this toy that I had when I was little, where the ball had like this rubber handle that came up and you'd hold the handle. And because of the way the rubber was shaped, it's like your legs fit into this like groove. And then you would take the ball and you and the ball would be bouncing along. I just told one of my clients that I was going to find that and we're going to have hallway races. And she was all for it. So that's my next quest. I don't think I'll have to look very far. I'll find it. All right. Do you have your core twisty? Some part of our training, right, needs to be a little playful, because if everything is a drag, if there's not anything about it that makes you light up and feel light, lifted, joyful, if it's all a grind, even if you know it's things you should be doing, right? If you're just grinding it out, how like tragic is that? And I'm not saying that, I bring a lot of joy. I'm just saying that For me, all of the things I do make me feel very light and free. All right. And if I'm not speaking your language, then clearly it's not the right thing for you. But like playful, how do we play with it, knowing how serious it is? But there has to be playful elements in it to keep us rooted and wanting to do it more. Where are your neck and shoulder muscles? All right. So if the core board is not an option for you, maybe you're back to your step touch or your marching feet, right? Whatever you've picked, I want you to do a little bit faster. Oh, man, my abs are on fire. Oh, 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and cut. You're getting your mat. I want you to have your towel handy for the extra little cushion that your head might need. Get 2 weights of different weights. So even if one's really light, that's fine. For me, I'm going to use an 8 and a 10. Okay. If you've got your extra pillow or your yoga block, we're going to put that into the equation. So my towel is going to be for my head, a little prop for my neck. This is actually one of the areas that I've reframed my thoughts about. I used to just like crack the whip on, I still make the reminder, lengthen your neck, like when you're laying on the floor, tuck your chin, where are your eyes supposed to be? But guess what? If your upper back has started to take that curvature to it, no amount of you hearing me say, lengthen your neck and tuck your chin, like that's not going to bridge the gap between this other thing that's causing the neck to be in the wrong spot anyway. So how do we get you into a cleaner form? We provide a little extra support so that you can, with your prop, put yourself in your best position. But I didn't always come at it from that thought process, because I was like, why do we want to prop something up? Like, why do we want to use a prop if we're supposed to be teaching, right, how to get in the right spot? It was through a continuing education class that I took on like, I hate to use the category, but so I'm a specialist with seniors, right? Because there are certain things that start changing, and I felt like I needed a little more. I needed more education in order to just get past some of these things that my words to people wasn't fixing the problem. Here we go. Block or pillow is going to go between the knees. You need one of your weights. Start with the lighter, lay back, get the feet pulled close to your hip line, your little pillow so your neck is comfortable. And more than anything, when you lay down, okay, just set your weight off to the side of you just for a second so it's not bearing down on your belly. But when you lay down, let's just reach our arms up to the ceiling, all right? So right now with the arms up, most of your upper back is actually off the floor. It's really only the couple of inches from the spine, right, on each side that are connected to the floor. So how do we keep our arms up, but pull the shoulders back to the floor? And then once they get back to the floor, try to squeeze your shoulder blades into each other even more, which is going to trigger probably your low back to lift. So now draw the low back down, which might then make you have to lift your hips to get into your lengthened spine and bridge. But yet now your shoulders, as much of your back is connected to the mat as you can. Most of the time when we lay down, we don't take the time to tuck our wings under and reestablish as much connection to the floor as possible. So now that I said all of that, get your weight, pick a hand, okay? Once the weight's up, go back and tuck the shoulders under, re-bridge, get the glutes active. You're squeezing your little yoga block or your pillow. The arm is up. And you're going to let this arm glide down right next to the torso. And just before the elbow smacks the floor, don't let it hit. Just before the elbow smacks the floor, squeeze your shoulder blade. Push it up. Ready? So the elbow is pulling down in line with your torso, but it's not touching the torso, and we're not going to let the arm hit the floor. And as the arm actually starts getting closer to the floor, I want you to feel your shoulder blades pinch together tighter, even though you're only using the one arm. Push. Ready? Elbow is staying close to the body. You start putting your mind into sliding your shoulder blade down and in towards the other one. Push. Sliding down. It's so much more focus, right? Push. Glide it down. And now this time up, I want you to take your free hand, put it at the wrist. Now, this is a tricky one. Your thumb is pointed down towards you. It's not wrapped around your wrist. So all of the fingers are together, and it's the pinky finger that's at the wrist, and then the rest of the hand just lays on the forearm. Ready? So your working arm, you're doing overhead tricep extension, right? Also known as a skull crusher. And the real focus is for you to maintain your shoulder blades in a slightly retracted position, and this working elbow is fixed. The elbow doesn't rock forward and back as the arm bends and extends. The elbow stays neutral to the shoulder joint, right? It's a clean hinge, 90 degrees, maybe even a little bit more than 90, and up. And if you're using a relatively light weight and it's too easy, take your assist hand off, but you should be feeling the muscle that runs between the elbow all the way to your armpit. That is your tricep. 5, 4, start giving me a little bridge. 3, but just a little bridge because we have our towel under our head. So we don't want to be in high bridge. And now relax that arm, set the weight off to the side, take your little pillow, remove it from under your head, get your neck situated, bridge the hips higher. Can you, without dropping your disc or whatever you're holding, can you shift your weight so that you can lift the foot without dropping what you're holding between your knees? So the butt is up. You're not in super high bridge. The important thing is that you're maintaining your pelvic tilt. We're getting hip adductors working, right? And glutes. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, touchdown. Ready? Now, if you don't feel like your head is cocked back, right, then maybe you don't have to put your towel or your cushion back under your head. If you feel like you're relatively flat and there's not much space between your neck and the floor, then don't put your towel back. Grab your weight, move it to the other arm, retuck the chin, shoulder blades are tucking under the body, pelvic tilt, You're kind of staring at your arm, right? All right, ready? Slide the elbow down towards the ribs. As the arm lowers, I want you to try to squeeze your shoulder blades, and you're not going to let the elbow hit the floor. Push it back up. Glide shoulder blades down, pulling belly to spine, squeezing the bun, squeezing that little disc between your knees. Push, pull it down. No arch in the back. The whole rest of your body is active. All right. So we've got the shoulder blades tucking, the neck is nice and long, right? Down you go. If you catch yourself where your head is cocked back and you're staring at a spot that is kind of behind you, then you know that your upper back has that round to it that I was talking about. And you need to put that pillow back under your head to get your neck neutral. And now take the arm, punch it up and hold it. Put the assist hand into play, all of your fingers together. Let the pinky finger rest at the wrist. And now hinge and up. If it feels too easy at any time, take your assist hand away. Try to keep squeezing your shoulder blades. If you are staring at your arm, direct your attention to your elbow. You want to see that your elbow is staying put. The arm is not gliding forward and backward as it bends and extends, right? It's neutral. Here we go. Belly to spine, buns tight. Give me a little itty bitty bridge from the floor. Oof, 3 more. Inhale down, exhale up. 2 more. Inhale down, exhale up. Last one. Now, bring the weight down. If you put your pillow back under your head, I need for you to move it out of the way. You're back into your bridge. Ready? So the arms are down, palms are opened, neck is neutral. I want you to back your feet up. And as you're backing the feet up, I want you to go to your tiptoes. You'll only be able to get them back so far. Some of it will be based on your knee's ability to be flexed. Some of it will just be that it fires up your hamstring in a way that cramps you up and you'll have to immediately get out of it. So trying to not drop your cushion, you just try to pull the foot back a little bit more, all right? Get up on tiptoes. Belly to spine. Oof, you're in full pelvic tilt and you're as high as your tiptoes will get you. Holding 5, 4, 3, 2, relax. Walk it out and down, drop your cushion, push yourself up. Let's just get out of that position for a moment. Whew. Okay, you ready? So there's a part of me, I want you to think about this. Some of you don't have any trouble being in a kneeling position. And if you're like, oh man, not kneeling. If you can't be in a kneeling position, then I want you to stand. If you can kneel, then let's make sure we've got plenty of cushion. All right. I'm going to put my extra towel down just for a little cushion. I could use my yoga block, but what if it's this? Because I know, like, if you've only had one knee replacement, then I consider that though your knee that's been replaced is kind of your bionic knee, it doesn't feel good to kneel on it. So kneel on your other knee and bring the other foot forward. If you want to try to do this, think bicep curls. That's all I'm doing, but I'm putting you in a kneeling curl. If you can be down on both knees, you're going to have your different weights. All right. Squeezing buns, hammer time. You're only going to do 10. So you're either standing or you've got one leg forward if you can't be on both knees. Options. If being on your knees is an okay place for you, then I want you to consider this. In the down, can you pause and try to work the leg out from under you, and then do a curl. And then the arms go down, track the leg back, switch the legs. The little transition of getting out of it and back up is the challenge. You have to decide if that's too much challenge for you. And when you pull yourself back up, hip thrust into it and release. Pull up, pelvic tilt. If you're still standing, that's fine. On this position here, wherever you are, you need to trade the weights out if you're using different weights. And we're gonna do about 6 more. Pull, release, squeeze the bun. 1, find your rhythm. 2, release. 3, that navigating the foot, the knee, the hip, the balance, right? Do 1 more. Push, pull. Relax. That's it. Set the weight down. Come to your side. Okay. We are going to do a little oblique move. So the obliques, side body. Imagine that the oblique kind of is like a hand coming around the side, right? So there's an angle to the muscle, and you have external and internal. So each side, external and internal, they're deep contracting muscles. How do we get the obliques worked if we're not doing a twist? Okay, so I'm going to take you through it. Your legs are at a forward angle, but if you're directly on the side of your hip, you won't be able to lift your legs. So as you roll the top hip back, you'll find that you kind of plop into a little cockeyed position. That's where you start. Take the top hand, because your head is heavy, put it behind your head. The bottom arm stays on the floor. Now you're looking at your body. You're like, oh goodness, where are we going? Put the head down, crunch back up. Take the top leg, lift it. Keep it there. Put the head down. Look at your foot, crunch back up. This is your basic move. If you can do more, when you crunch up, you add the bottom leg. Now, this bottom arm, you're using your elbow a little bit to help you crunch. Push, push it together, or I should say, pull it together. It should be an immediate sensation. 5, 4. The elbow is going towards the ceiling, not forward. So you're looking up, crunch up and down. 4, 3, 2, relax. Oh, there should have been many things about that felt uncomfortable. 1, it's just awkward. 2, your legs are heavy, right? You're like, yeah, you don't have to tell me. Now, it's funny because in my class yesterday, there's something that I did in class that made my rump really tender. Like, so as I'm rolling, I'm like, oh, wow, that's tight over there. Your body needs to be at an angle. That's where we start. Arm and leg opened up. You're rolled back enough so that you're at the sweet spot, being able to not have any pressure and sensation in like the hip bursa. Roll back, wrap your hand around your head, raise the top leg, take your head, right? Let the head pull back to the floor. Look at your foot, crunch up to it. If you did nothing more than just keep your leg lifted and crunch towards the ceiling, right? The elbow is up, go to the ceiling. To add on, the bottom leg comes up to meet the top leg. Pull the bottom arm. If you're adding the bottom leg, The bottom arm kind of is used as a little lever. But if that bothers your shoulder, then you know you need to regress your movement a little bit. Push, pull. Exhale. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2. Relax. Push yourself up. Okay, here's where we're going to finish. It is hip flexor move. Couple different versions of strengthening the hip flexors. All right. So we'll go through. Why don't we say we'll do 5 repetitions, 3 versions from easiest to hardest. Okay. So with your block or your dumbbell, you will need something, right? You don't have to have, doesn't have to be a block. It could be a dumbbell. It's just for the getting the leg to clear something. All right. So here's the basics. And your block might even be on the, right? If you feel like you're really weak, then you put your bell like in its lowest profile. I'm going to use the block at its highest profile because I know that I can always back out of it if it's too much. So here's the basics. I've got my block in the middle. The basics, the easiest. Hands support, so you're slightly reclined. You determine fingers forward, fingers out, fingers back, but whatever way you put your arms, look at my head and my neck and my chest. That's not right, right? Your arms are there to not only support you, but to help you brace into a clean, not vertical, but a cleaner body line. So now pick your hand position. The leg comes up, clears the block. Up and over, alternating sides. Up, over, down, up, wide, other leg. All right, so here's the bottom of number 2. All right, push, pull, bottom of 3. You're like, we're doing 15 of these things? 4. My hope is, all right, when you get over and back, that's your 5. Now, that's the easiest of the 3. Now you're upright. So now your abs have to get involved, which might mean that you have to change the profile of your object. I'm going to stay high because I like a good challenge. So imagine that someone's helping prop you up, which would be your helpers or your abs. Clear it. Oh, 1. Yikes. 5 didn't seem like it was so many, right? Until you started moving. I'm doing something that you're like, hey, you're cheating. No, I'm not. I'm assisting. So I love a good challenge. That's too much of a challenge for me. If when you lift your leg, your thigh gets an immediate cramp in it, then you know that you're using the right muscle. I just worked myself out of a cramp. Here we go. So the goal would be to keep your leg stiff, even if you get to assist it up and over, and keep your back as straight as you can. So we're going to say this is number 5. How can it get harder? Yikes. See what we just did? I'm scared now. Make fists. Use your arms to drive yourself forward and find a way to see this angle without being rounded here. Okay, that's the hard part. Long spine. Uh-oh. Will yourself. Strong arms. Pick up the leg. Here's what my leg wants to do. Just wants to knock the cushion out of the way. Knock your cushion out of your way. Just try to move the leg from side to side. Cross the mat. Oh, wicked, isn't it? Now, which leg is it that actually is feeling like it's doing something? Because for me, it's my right quad. And as soon as you've got a muscle that cramps up, you can't keep loading it. You've got to come out of it. And I'm okay showing you all this. I want you to know that when I do things with you, I have an unpredictable aspect to my body's muscular recruitment too. And I know that these stiff leg raises challenge us in such a way, right? Got a couple more. Keep bearing down into the arms, trying to get your shoulders forward of your hips. Push. You see, I never fear the muscular cramp because I know it will go away. This is your last one, and relax. And now I managed to get both of them cramped up. If you're like me, then just roll over on your belly and bend your legs, and that will stretch the muscle. It lengthens the muscle, which makes it essentially the cramp will go away and release. Rebend your legs. This is a good place to be. Even if you're like, well, I didn't cramp up. Relax. I'm going to finish with this thought. If you come to a sit crisscross, if that's comfortable, or legs out, this will be where we finish. On command, I can activate my muscle so intense, regardless of me picking up weight, that I have a very good mind to muscle control. All right. So when my muscles cramp, it doesn't scare me. It makes me go, oh, like, yay, it actually did what I told it to do. Sometimes, though, because the feeling is so intense, if you're not used to having that amount of control over your muscle, the intensity is shocking, right? So don't fear that. Be proud of yourself that you actually are making the connection and the muscle is responding precisely the way that it's supposed to. Release and relax. That is the best way that I can frame that for you, because a muscular activation into like that Charlie horse feeling, it's not anything that lasts. Like as soon as you stop doing the movement, it will go away. But what will probably be an effect of that is what's called delayed muscle soreness. So this delayed onset of muscle soreness. So I'm telling you this because I know that I just cramped up both quads. So tomorrow when my quads are tight and I feel it when I'm trying to sit and to stand, I know it will be from that. That's all I want you to be aware of. And you guys, I always thank you for your attention, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.